Hello, beautiful creative people. This is Kyla Givehand of Giving Hands Creative, and I am here today for Book in a Day 24. We are almost halfway through the year, not just in terms of books, but just in terms of how fast the year is moving. So today is Thursday, June 13th, and it's 11 o'clock roughly in the morning. And I have a pretty ambitious book that I'm going to try and make today, and I'll explain it in a second. But I want to start by saying, you know, if you've been watching the videos, you know that I'm sort of on a blank book kick right now. And one of the blank books that I have been eyeing for a very long time, several years, a couple years, is the Midori Traveler's Notebook. It has a little bit of a cult following. It's a notebook system is what people call it, a notebook system, because it's basically a cover, a leather cover that has elastic straps on the inside that you then purchase a variety of different inserts for. So it comes with a particular blank notebook insert, and then you can add to it. And that is what I think makes it so appealing to people, is that it's highly customizable. You can buy line, you know, they have all these different accessories. You can accessorize it and sort of make it your own. And I really love that idea, and I love the Midori system, the way it's set up. I've actually held one in my hand and looked at it and sort of played around with it. There's a store here in the Bay Area in San Francisco that sells them, and they are quite pricey. So roughly $50 some odd for the small one, which is probably considered like passport size, and then there's a larger one. And yeah, I just cannot, on principle alone, I cannot bring myself to pay that much for a notebook, knowing that I could maybe make my own. So today I'm going to try and make my own version of the Midori Traveler's Notebook. I've seen lots of people, and you can YouTube it and see lots of people talking about theirs and showing you how they have theirs set up and how they use theirs. And because there's so many different configurations of it, everybody can have a different, you know, sort of Midori Traveler's Notebook, because depending on what inserts you put in and whether or not you buy the pen clip, or the if you change the cord colors out, or if you put in they have these little sticker type things that you can stick in to make pockets. So it's highly customizable, which I think is what is so appealing about it to folks. So if this fails miserably, I may just save up and buy my own Midori Traveler's Notebook. But I am today going to attempt to make my version. And again, I want to emphasize my version, because, you know, these people have perfected this over years of, I'm sure, fine leather work, and, you know, so this is my humble version of the Midori Traveler's Notebook. Now, there is one young woman on YouTube who does a video of, she created her own and how she did that. And so she has a video, and I'll put a link for that in the comment section below, or in the description, so that you can take a look at how she did hers. And I've watched her video, and I think she has an excellent system that she's done. However, I have this vision for mine of what I want to put in it, and so because of that, her system wouldn't really work for me. So I'm gonna try to do my own little system. So we'll see how that works out. So let me show you what I'm gonna be using. I bought this. It's not leather. It looks leather-like, but it's really vinyl, I think. I'm pretty sure. I purchased this from the remnant section at Joann Fabrics. And anyway, I got this super cheap, like so cheap, because I think it regularly is like $40 a yard or something, because it's pretty fancy vinyl, because it almost is mimicking leather. The only thing I don't like about it is this white inside. So I also have these little pieces of fabric that I got from also from Joann's, that when I purchased them, I was thinking of them as using them to make my own book cloth. So I'm thinking I might try to figure out a way to stitch this. This would be the inside of the cover. Kind of like that combination, and we'll see if I can make that happen. So this was like, so I'm gonna open this up, take one of these out, and I'm going to base my Midori Traveler's Notebook on this size. Then I'm going to, because it's the idea of a Midori Traveler's Notebook is that it is customizable and you can put your own kind of you can pick and choose what you're going to put inside of it based on the Midori system. One thing they don't have is a notebook that has watercolor paper in it. So I'm going to create my own watercolor little notebook, same size as this, and then maybe one other so that I can have 3 of them in the one Midori Traveler's Notebook. So that is my plan for today. And I am not quite sure if I can make it work, but I will, if I fail along the way, I'll share those failures with you and I'll let you know how it all turns out. So let's get started and I'll see you back here on the other side. Okay, so you've seen me, I cut both pieces of fabric out, and you'll notice that I cut them, they're all bigger than anything they need to be, right? Just to give myself some wiggle room. So this one's probably right about the width it needs to be, but then I made it a little bigger in terms of length. And then this piece is also bigger. And my goal is to fuse these two together by using this stuff, Heat Bond. My mother was here for a while. If you've been watching the videos, you know that. If you've been watching from the beginning. And she made a t-shirt quilt while she was here. And she was using this stuff to fuse, to stiffen the t-shirts so that they wouldn't be so flimsy, and then adhering them to, I don't really know the process she was using, but she had this stuff in the sewing bag, so I thought I should try that. I'm gonna put it on here, and then I think you peel it off, and then I'll fuse it onto this piece so that they are then one. And I'm nervous a little bit about putting the iron anywhere near vinyl, but I'm not going to actually put the iron directly on this. It'll always be touching this fabric. So that's my next step, and I can't do it on camera because, well, my iron's not at this desk. So I will be back once it's done. Okay, so I have fused these two pieces together. And I just need to, you know, shape it up, edge it up here. But I wanted to do a quick time check because I did take a couple hours and go have lunch with a dear friend of mine, Selma. We had a literary lunch where we just basically talked about all things literary and poetry and fiction and writing and manuscripts and literary journals and all sorts of stuff. So it is now 3:21 in the afternoon, and I just wanted to say that part because I haven't been working on the book that whole time. I fused these together and then I went to lunch with her. So now I'm going to edge these up, and I don't know what my next step is. I think my next step is going to be to create the other 2 little books that are going to go with this one, and to get the pages and the cover decided and get the pages folded and under some weight, because I want it, you know, I want it to stay flat like this. So that's what I'm going to do next, and I'm going to probably speed through the process a little bit for you, because you've seen me make little small pamphlet books like that in the past. And then I'll be back. Okay, so I just want to pause here for a second. 4:30, and so I have the 3 books that are going to go inside. So just to recap, originally I was going to use the notebook that I had gotten, one of the notebooks I had received for Mother's Day this year, but what I noticed is that I measured the cover piece incorrectly. So if you can see the difference here in the size, I needed to make it about 2/8 shorter in width, so I had to do that. So I ended up making 3 just small little pamphlet notebooks. One that is for writing. It's just sketching paper, so it could be pencil and or pen here. But definitely I couldn't do anything on this paper with like watercolor or anything wet, no wet media. I used a recycled piece of art that was probably from something else that I never, continued working on, but I thought it'd make a good book cover. And then I have one that is a watercolor journal, so it's watercolor paper, so I could do mixed media art on this. I could do art journaling, anything with wet media I can do with this. The cover is also watercolor paper, or it's actually the cover is actually canvas paper, and again recycled from a piece of a project that I started. I was going to do some collage on and didn't really like the way it was turning out, so I kind of stuck it in a drawer. Perfect time for it now. And then I have some black charcoal paper. I just thought that would be neat to have an all black little notebook in here. And then if you remember, this paper is from the I think maybe the 22nd book that I did, The Women Who Raised Me. It's the same paper I used on the cover, so that's like a scrap piece of it that was left over. So I used that because I thought went really well with that. So none of these actually match this, which, you know, isn't necessary. And so the next step in my mind is, see how these are very springy and not closing? I'm going to put them under weight for several hours, probably until about 2 hours. But while they're under weight, I am going to work on the cover because I need to have several things I want to do to it. First of all, I need to edge it up a little bit so it's not so much space on these edges here. And then I need to get my elastic cord in that will then, you know, help keep the book closed. And then I have to do the inside elastic pieces in order to hold these in place inside the book. So while these are under weight, I will be working on that. And I will be back. See you in a minute. Okay, we are very close to the end of this project. And for some reason I've had a very like stop and do something else kind of day. So I took some time and I cooked dinner and I did some stitching on the vinyl part of this just because I was curious about how it might look if I had stitching on it. So yeah, I took a chance and there it is. So the next step basically is for me to get it all. These three have been under weight for several hours now at this point. And the only thing left to do is for me to put in the straps, the cord, all that. So that is my next task. Okay, so I want to show you what I just did. Because this is so dark, I don't know if you'll be able to actually see it, but I have 2 holes in this back flap of the book. I'm going to put a piece of elastic there that will then wrap around the entire book, and it has 2 holes, so it's a hole here and a hole here. And then I have 4 holes on the sort of what would be considered the spine, and those are for the sort of Midori type system. So there's 2 side by side. We'll see if I can make it work. I've got the holes in there now, so we're gonna make it work. Okay, stay with me. Almost done. Okay, so I turned the camera off for a second because I didn't think you wanted to see me flail about with this cord. So this is going to be the cord that wraps around the book when it is closed. Like so. Part of me wishes it was a little bit tighter, but I think I might be able to remedy that. I don't know. At any rate, we're going to keep going forward. Alright, so the next thing is to get these 3 books in using the system. Alright, so watch me flail about some more with the cord on the inside. Okay, so the cords are in. Let's see if it works. Fingers crossed. Alright, so I'm going to start with, I think I'm going to put the watercolor notepad in the back. That's interesting. And I'm going to put the regular one in the front. And I could leave it like that and just have 2. But I have this third one here. And we're going to put the third one in the center. And we're going to connect it to the other 2 using rubber bands, which I don't have. So I'll be right back. Okay, so I have 2 rubber bands here. Not my first choice, but we're going to use them because it's all I have now, and it'll just tell me if this works. So the idea with the actual Midori Traveler's Notebook is that you are using a system of rubber bands to, well, I don't think they call them rubber bands. I think they have some other special name. I don't really know. But they look like rubber bands to me, so I'm going to go with that. But you're using it to connect and hold the books together. Now, I suspect the rubber bands that I have here, number 1, are not the best for this because they're not that sturdy, which, you know, a rubber band could actually be sturdy. These just happen not to be. So we'll see if they actually can do their job here. Alright, so it holds that one. I suppose I could just connect it to one. It doesn't have to be connected to both of them. Don't really know. Alright, so all 3 are in. And the cord is around them. So technically it's done, but it feels incomplete to me right now. I feel like it needs something on the front of it. So I need to think about that for a little bit. So the idea is that you have this notebook that has multiple notebooks inside of it. Again, you should totally Google Midori Traveler's Notebook, and that's M-I-D-O-R-I. Midori. I might be pronouncing it wrong. I don't know. But the idea is that you can customize it and you can have a bunch of different ones all together in the same notebook, and that they're held together by basically by each other. They are held together with each other, if that makes any sense. It makes more sense when you see it on the video. So yeah, I mean the concept. I have the concept here. I got that down. But again, like I said, the front of it feels quite empty to me. I think I probably want to add a title. I also think I want this band to be tighter. So I'm going to work on those two things. How to get this band tighter. And something on the front of it. Something. I don't know what. Okay. I will be back. Okay, so just a quick check-in. It is 9 o'clock. And roughly 9. And I am actually going to pause here to have some dinner. And just show you what I did. So I went and cut a little piece of the same fabric from the inside of the book. I cut a little piece of that fabric, did some random sort of stitching on it. I call myself doing a diagonal. I don't know that it is, but it's good enough. I wanted it to look well traveled. It's a traveler's notebook, right? So I want it to have a little bit of a, I don't want it to look so pristine, I guess. So anyway, there's that. And actually what I'm going to do is I have this wooden letter. I'm going to show you the raw version. So I have this little pack of letters, and it's, well, they're actually all the letter K, all the same letter. And it's just this little wooden piece, and I put some, what color did I use? I put some walnut stain distress ink on it to make it have sort of a brownish color. And then I topped that with some diamond glaze adhesive, because it's going to give it a very, it's going to make it look lacquered, I think, by the time it's all done. So if you can see that little K there, I don't know if you can see the shine on it, but it's not quite dry. Put it in my hand and see if that's better. It's not quite dry yet, so I'm going to let that dry, but ultimately it's going to live right there on the cover on that little piece. So that's the plan. So I'm going to let this dry, this K, while I eat dinner, and then I will be back to check in for the very final thoughts on the Giving Hands Traveler's Notebook. My version of the Midori Traveler's Notebook. Okay, I will be back after dinner, but it'll be seconds for you. See you in a sec. Okay, wonderful people. It is 11:32 and I am done with the book. Book 24, my version of a Traveler's Notebook. I have this sort of vinyl-y cover that is supposed to be mimicking leather. I added the K to the front here after adding a little piece of fabric that, you know, mimics the inside. And so it just, you know, that back band is there for helping keep the book closed. And then I have 3 little small handmade notebooks. One is just for writing, just ink and pencil. This one is black paper, which I'm looking forward to using some of my metallic glaze pens and, metallic jelly roll pens. The Sakura brand, they have these glitter pens and these sort of, they have white pens. So I'm looking forward to using some of those in the on the black pages. And then this last one is a watercolor journal. So all the pages in here are watercolor paper. Then we have the back, and that's that little piece where the strap is coming through. And I actually left some space there in the event that I need to, like, I mean, I could literally add another really small something in here and have a 4th thing, and, you know, so I left some slack in case I want to lengthen this. So yeah, if you're not familiar with the Midori Traveler Notebook, which this one is, mine is based on, you should totally Google it or put it in the search bar here in YouTube, because there are tons of folks talking about it. A really thorough review of, or not even review, I think he's just showing how to use it. is on the Ink Nouveau channel. He owns a store that sells fountain pens, and so I think his store recently started carrying, and I'm saying recently, I don't know when, but there's a guy on YouTube that has a really great video. His channel is Ink Nouveau. I'll try to find the link and put it in the description for this book. But he demonstrates the Midori Traveler's Notebook and shows you how it functions and how you can add parts, accessorize it. He talks about the pen clip that you can get and all these other things. So if you want to see the real version of the Midori Traveler's Notebook, you should do some research, take a look, see what you can find. Here's a side view. This is where the bands are inside the book and holding the notebooks in, right? They're being held in by those bands, and it's actually a really amazing system. I mean, yeah, brilliant minds created that for sure. So my version is, my version. I'm happy with it. I like how it turned out. So yeah, I think this is, I think I can call it done for the night. No major disasters. I had some trouble with my band in the back because I wanted it to do a specific thing, and I could not make it do that, so I had to opt for this. Yeah, and then the cover felt really blank to me, so I wanted to do something. I don't know if I will title this. I think I'll just call it Kyla's Traveler's Notebook or something. I don't know, but this is book 24, and I thank you for watching and subscribing and following over at Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all the many places where you can find me. So even if you're not going to make your own Midori Traveler's Notebook, I hope that you will go out and create something beautiful today. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great week. I'll see you back here.